All right, welcome back to MVP Podcast. I can't do MVP Rentals, and I want to do it every time. MVP Real Estate Podcast, Season 2, Episode 15. We have Lindsey back from the great state of Minnesota.
Yes.
And we're going to try to take it. If you listen to her the first time around, works a lot with mindset with people and breaking through a lot of barriers that kind of hinder people, not just in real estate, but in the world and every kind of role you're in. And we wanted to continue the talk because it was enlightening. It was great.
Good.
And Natasha can't be with us today. Did she say stomach bug?
She's some sort of sickness.
Yeah. When we logged on, she was in the black silhouette. The only thing that we didn't have is like that auto-tone voice, so you couldn't tell it was her. But we gave her the day off so she can rest up. She'll be with us next week again.
Which is absolutely wonderful. If you guys listened to the episode before, it's checking in, it's seeing where you're at. And Marcus, my question, and I literally was going to start it out with both of you, is like, if you could rate your energy level right now, where would it be? So 0 to 100%, like, where is your energy at? For Natasha, she's probably in that low area. And if we're there, I'd say stop what you're doing and go take care of yourself. So she already did that.
Yeah.
So well done for Natasha with that.
Yeah. My energy level, I think this is a good one. My energy level's at about 75.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay.
And I'm not talking day, I'm talking I guess day and week, but I can tell it's not good, like where I would like it to be. I didn't get to meditate last night. I was already feeling stressed last night, and I actually got home from work and we walked the dogs. I do something around the house, and then I got back in the house and I drank like a sip of water, and all of a sudden just got like super lightheaded. And I was like, all right, my body's telling me to slow down. You got to slow down. So like all last night, I tried to relax a little bit and like knocked a few things off my list that I wanted to get done. But I was like, I'll get to it tomorrow. But I wanted to get into bed and meditate for like 30, 40 minutes to try and get my body was relaxing, but my mind wasn't relaxing because we still have 3 kids going around. We had homework to do. I had to make dinner. So like my mind's not resting. It's still going, but my body is like, okay, I'm not going to finish up the dog fence. Like I have one little strip left to do. I'm not doing that today. And then, so I didn't get to meditate, went to sleep, woke up. I didn't have like a good, easy sleep because I woke up, and when I wake up and I feel tense right away.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I didn't do something to set myself up for good sleep, which is a bummer. And then I got to the gym and my headphones were out of battery, and I forgot my water bottle in my truck, and I forgot my shirt. So like, and I could be like, oh, those are things that I should catch. If I'm at my peak or where I want to be comfortable, I catch those things. I didn't catch them. And then I got frustrated with it. And I was like, why am I frustrated? Can I not work out without the right shirt? You can. Can I not work out without a water bottle? They have water fountains. I won't say bubbler. They have water fountains. In all these problems, like I'm getting frustrated as I'm walking up to the gym, and I'm like, just forget it. It's done. Like I can't do anything about it now. Just go try and do the best workout you can. So like I did my workout. I came home, and on the ride back, I just sat, like I didn't put the radio on. I usually put like a podcast on. I just wrote in silence because I was like, I need to fully relax before my day starts going. So
okay, the fact is that you're at that 75%, which is huge because you're in your top part of your brain. This is how I break it down. 75 to 100 is executive. It's that top part of your brain. 50 to 75% is the emotional part. That's that middle part. And then 50% and lower is the survival.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm right in that threshold of being emotional and being logical.
Totally. So 75, right? So you're in that executive, but you're funny. I don't want to drop. I really, really don't want to drop.
Yeah.
So there are tools and there are things that very much I can help you learn that. I think for you, what I'm hearing is speaking the truth to yourself of like, what do you know about yourself? Like, And I think it's maybe in terms of your tasks. Like I'm hearing you say that, like, I have all these things to do, but when you give yourself that permission to say, you know what, this is what I'm going to do today, and this is what I'm not going to do. This can wait for another day. Like, it allows your body to relax, but it also allows your mind to relax.
Mm-hmm.
So what are like 1 to 2 things that you're like, oh, I should do today, but you're like, I don't need to, I'm going to wait to do that?
Well, today I'm taking off. There are things that I cannot take off my list. So I'm gonna start there, and then I'll go to the ones that I was able to and why.
Yeah.
I had to help my sister out. Well, I wanted to go to the gym, and I wasn't willing to let that go. That's a personal thing that I need to do for myself. Like, gym is gym. If I have to wake up at 5:30, I wake up at 5:30. And because how my day was going to break down, the only chance I had to work out today was at 6.
And I would say that was probably very, very wise, because your energy level when you woke up, especially because you woke up tense and you felt that, your energy level was actually probably lower. Where would you say it was when you woke up?
This morning, it was tricky because I felt tired, but I felt like I couldn't stay there. So I had to force myself, like, put on your big boy pants. The dogs are they're going to pee. The dogs are going to pee. They're either going to pee and you're going to be mad and you got to clean it up, or you're going to get your butt out of bed and they're going to go outside.
Yeah.
So energy level was like 60.
Yep.
And it's always, I think I woke up in the morning at 60 and tense because last night I felt like I wasn't going to sleep where I wanted. Because, like, have you ever read Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck? And I'm sorry that I'm swearing on air.
Yeah. But
the book, he talks about the battery level, and you've got 100% of your day of energy. And in the book, and I'm sorry for listeners, if you've got kids in the car, like, skip a minute. But he says, like, everything that you give your energy to, or every fuck you give, takes up your battery.
totally.
And when I don't go to bed feeling like I'm at a healthy pace where I can recharge my battery to get to 100%, that adds to the anxiety and adds to the stress.
Yeah.
So woke up tense. I was probably at like a 60, but getting me out of bed and having them get me out of bed helps, like, jumpstart. So I get up, I drink my water, I get to take them out. I walk around my yard because we're doing the dog fence training. So I have to walk my yard, and like, that little walk was nice and it slowed me down. And I think even that little bit of peace and quiet in, like, in nature, my backyard is a river and, like, a bunch of trees. So, like, that was nice, just to do a little lap, and then came in and started my day. The reason I had to do it early was my sister's out of town, so I had to take her 2 dogs to the dog groomer. That was something that I scheduled and I couldn't take off. Obviously the show today. Right after this, my tenants are moving out, so I'm doing some showings. I'm doing 2 showings on our rental in Oconomowoc. Then I have to pick up the dogs. Then I have to drop them back off. I have to run to the job site, drop off a deposit for the roofers that we subbed out for today. And then I get to come back. So my flex day doesn't start until about 1:30. My morning was booked with things that weren't personal. So then at 1:30, it goes into, like, okay, now I can pick what can be done and needs to be done in that 2-hour window before I pick up the kids from school. And that for me is going to be receipts and tracking my trips. So it's going to be
so before you do receipts and tracking that,
lunch in the car.
Can you treat yourself to a lunch that you're like, oh, I really love this? Like, for me, I'd be like, okay, if I'm going to do a drive-through, it's either Panera or Chick-fil-A, because
Qdoba.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So being able to treat yourself, and I would say treat yourself today in some capacity of that, of like, you have a very busy day, recognize that, but you know that you need to be at this optimal level of your energy. When we're working, we need to be at that 75% or above, because when we drop, our productivity drops, our ability to manage conversations drops. And we usually the next day have way more problems on our hands because we just didn't accomplish what we needed to, or there were issues and things that came up because of those things.
Yeah.
Or crap, I totally forgot to have my tenants sign this thing. Now you have to track them down the next day. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's way more work. And how I would say it is, okay, well, what can you do to take care of yourself and make sure your energy is at that higher level?
Mhm.
And so it's 5 minutes sometimes, it's 2 minutes, it's 10 minutes. Like you have to eat lunch anyway. So go somewhere that actually can make you feel good, fill
Mhm.
you up, and keep you in that optimal level. So you
Yeah.
can go about your day.
Yeah. And I pick Qdoba mainly because I'm trying to do the non-processed carb. So their food kind of fits with what I need to eat. And if you go at the right time, it's kind of empty. And they have like soft music playing. So you just kind of sit there and there's no TVs, there's no distractions. You just sit there.
Yeah.
And it does let you unplug for that little bit of time.
When you need that, because really
Yeah.
when it comes to this, and this is how it so translate to any of this work, anyone listening, is when you're a professional, like I said, you need to be in that high level.
Yeah.
And if we're not being productive. And so the last like episode I did with you guys was literally teaching about how do we do this for ourselves? How do we learn about our brain? How do we get to that level? And then how do we also stay there? Like
Yeah.
that's the toughest part, right? And like
Yeah.
that's what I extensively teach my clients is what do you need to then stay there so
Yeah.
you can keep at that level?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like that I love that feeling when you, like you call it, stay there. So like after I meditate and when I've done Reiki in the past, like my body literally, I feel the vibration and it sounds super weird, but I feel a different vibration going. And I try to see how long that will last after my meditation.
Yeah.
Um, and I know the first time I did, I felt the vibration for like 3 days.
Yeah.
And then slowly and slowly, the more you do it, the less. It's kind of like anything. Like I hate to compare it to like alcohol, but that I feel like that's the most common for
Yeah.
people. Like you build up a tolerance. So like the first time you drink, you have one drink and you can kind of feel it. But then maybe like a month from then, if you drink, you need two to get to that same feeling. Like meditation kind of works like that in reverse. But the first time I did it, I felt the effects way longer when I got to like that deep meditative state than I do now, because that it lasts so much shorter.
Yeah. Or I love
So
when I work
plugging in
with
the
my
middle of my
clients is we can start to figure out like what's taking away, like you said with the battery, what's taking out your battery, or I say what's your energy, what's taking those percentage points away. Let's just address those. Let's nail those with the understanding of some things, like you said, you can't control, you have certain things that have to get done, but how can we also support you and give you tools and strategies to optimize it? So you don't need, like you said with alcohol, 2 drinks, 4 drinks, like how it keeps building. I don't think it needs to in those ways. I think it's when we have this strong awareness and we know what tools actually really work for us,
Yeah.
it can be that much more powerful.
Yeah. No, definitely. And like when you're talking about unplugging for a couple minutes in the middle of your day, like that's why for me it's important to at least take a little bit of time out. And I've been listening to, I'm sure you've heard of Tim Ferriss.
Yep.
So I've been listening to his podcast like the past month.
Yeah.
He was on Joe Rogan and I was like, okay, I've read four of your books, 3 of your books. Like you're on his you have to have a podcast. So I looked it up and he does. So he was just listening, or he just had a guest on that had worked with Dr. J, Michael Jordan, Shaq, Kobe, like all those elite athletes.
Yeah.
And when he was working with them, every single time he brought in some sort of meditation, every time. And when he started, he was referencing one little thing when he was talking to Tim about working with Kobe. And he was like, before he was working just with Phil Jackson, who was his coach in Los Angeles. And he tried doing some sort of like calming meditative. And Kobe was like, I couldn't sit there for more than 10 minutes. I just had to keep going. And after working with, I think his last name was Mumford. I'm forgetting the first name.
Yeah.
He said after working with Mumford, I was able to, it became like a pre-game routine, like 30 minutes before a game, any game, I was doing it and it was easy. So it just comes with practice. And obviously if you're at that elite level, you've got the mindfulness or the awareness to tap into that, because
You
I
got
mean,
a big
you're
enough
excelling
motivation,
at
a big
such
enough
a
why.
high. Yeah, and I think that's the one. I feel like I've kind of been on both sides of it. I've played with athletes who've been in that, and I've seen it firsthand, and I was always so impressed with all the chaos that's around me at my level. And it wasn't even the professional level, how they could keep it all together and keep it organized and keep calm. And then I've seen people like, I've watched NFL games with people, and they're like, man, why didn't he make that play? And I'm like, do you realize what they're doing and like what they have, what their social cues are and how fast they are? The world we live in does not operate at that speed.
Yeah.
That's like police officers and like frontline workers. Their reality goes so much faster than ours. We've got to keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
That meditation, it's got to bring you back down, because like if you lived at the tempo of that level your whole life, I think you just burn out at the end of the day.
And a
But
lot of us do. We start even at 75%, and then the day goes on, and then we drop to 60, and then another big thing came up. Oh, I had to drop this off at their school. Okay, now I dropped to 40. Oh, and
yep.
then I had a coworker like complaining about something. Well, that took 20. Okay, now I'm at 20%. Oh my gosh. Well, then I had all these things. Oh, and then I got some affirmations and some like, I did a good job. Okay, now I went up, but oh crap, now I just got another person yelling at me.
Yeah.
So we come home and we're at 10%.
Yeah.
And that's the time that we're supposed to have for ourselves. That's the time we have for our family. That's the time that we have for the things that we just want to do.
Yeah.
We're at 10%. We're not
And
going to
there's
operate very well.
something that I just thought of when you were talking there about how you got affirmations and you went up in energy level because it gives you a little boost. There's a weird dynamic between intrinsic and extrinsic like motivations, and how you get those affirmations like if you give me a compliment or a coworker gives me a compliment, I can raise up in that energy level.
Yeah.
But even intrinsically, like things that you tell yourself. I was just reading a book, and the question was so simple, like, would you talk that way to a friend? Like the way you talk to yourself, would you say that to a friend? And it got me thinking, like, okay, throughout the day, how do I talk to myself? And I think I talk pretty positively. Like yes, I have to let things go, but they're written down, they're in my agenda, they're just not being taken care of right now. You're accomplishing what you set out to do. So give yourself some props and raise your energy level by yourself. But the weird dynamic is I can be telling myself all the good things, like you're doing all these things, you're good, building my self-esteem, building my energy. And my partner in life is like, hey, you didn't do the dishes and you didn't sweep and you didn't take the dogs out. So they're here and I'm here.
Yeah.
And then when we clash, it's like, okay, where are we?
Yep.
And that's another thing. Like if they're not happy, then you're like, okay, I drop back down.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still here like, hey, I felt like I was here. Can you come up a little bit?
So let's talk about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that is exactly what I want to talk about with this piece is how do we recognize where other people are in their brain and then respond appropriately to them?
Mm-hmm.
Because for example, what is something your wife would say? I mean, she starts to kind of nitpick at like the things you're not doing. I mean, come on, this is very typical with spouses, right? Like this happens.
Yeah.
So tell me something that she'll say.
It's usually household things. Dishwasher wasn't emptied, or dirty dishes are still in the sink and the dishwasher's empty and you were home for an hour.
Yep. And
like
how do you respond?
I was like, I know I was home for an hour, but I was working. And she's
Totally.
like, yeah, but it takes you 10 minutes to do the dishes. You could have worked for 50 minutes and put the dishes away for 10. And I was like, right, but that was just something that I took off my list because I needed to get this done.
Yep.
And it's hard balancing because, and I've described this to her too, because we don't live a typical US a day in the life. Like normally you wake up at 6 with your kids, you get them dressed, you take them to school, both of you part ways for 8 hours because you go to your own offices. You don't really talk other than like maybe a text or a call here and there. And then you pick up your kids, you're home from 5 till bedtime at 8. So like in totality, they've been face-to-face interacting for the 3 hours after school and then the 3 hours before. So they have 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Ari, from the time we wake up to the time we go to bed, there's so much crossing over. We have a full day, and there's so much communication that can be dropped, and there's so many things that we can assume and be incorrect on, that if our communication's not on point, there's bound to be some discord.
Absolutely. Okay. So let me teach you how to literally support someone when they're there. Okay. In these different stages. So when she came to you, this is literally how my sessions go with people. So people are like, how does this work? No, this is literally how I do it. Is I say, talk about a situation. Let's talk about where you were in your brain and where she was. Like you said, you were up high. So you were in your executive. You were like, I can problem solve. I can have a conversation right now. But she wasn't.
Yeah.
And so we can only have those kind of conversations when both people are up in their executive part of their brain. But she wasn't. So where was she? I would say that she was in the emotional part of her brain, and she was probably feeling frustrated, and she was just feeling tired. She's like, I'm tired from this, and I have to do the dishes now. Like, come on. Like, we've all been there. I know I've definitely been there. And then I see that one thing, and then that one thing makes me kind of snap a little bit. She didn't fully snap yet that she was in survival. She did drop there, and I'll tell you why she dropped there and how to change that in the future. So, and I'll be honest, it was you who invalidated her that sent her there, but because you don't have this knowledge,
I feel like I should grab a pen and a piece of paper.
Go get it.
Notes.
Go get it right now. I'm not kidding.
It's right here. I don't even have to get up.
Perfect. Good. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times I say, okay, great. Like, write this down. I also take notes during my sessions. And so I literally have a note thing next to me. So I'm like, so I can remember exactly what you said, because then I can be like, oh, yep, this is what that happened. So I can pinpoint it for you. So she said, hey, honey, like the dishes, like kind of like, why didn't you do them? Right.
Yep.
And your response was, well, I was doing this and this and this and this. And what she needed for you in that moment was she needed you to validate what she was feeling. Okay. How do you do that? Well, there's 3 phrases that I typically use. One is, it sounds like, so write this down. So it sounds like, remember how you said it's often like you guys have assumptions that happen, and that causes your communication to be dropped. It causes those challenges. We do not want to make any assumption of what someone is feeling. We need to invite them to tell us yes or no. Okay. So we're offering curiosity. That's literally what we're doing. It sounds like you're feeling frustrated instead of you're feeling frustrated. There's a complete difference.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That
kind of plays on the whole, when the DSM came and said it's not a schizophrenic, it's a person suffering with schizophrenia.
Yes. Yep. It's
so
like a way their words are powerful.
Label on it. Yeah.
Yep. And so it's, hey, it sounds like you're feeling frustrated. More likely than not, yeah, I'm feeling that way, or no, I'm not. And then you can say, okay, well, like, what are you feeling? That's a really good time to like say that.
Yeah.
But it's
kind of
only
has like a disassociation with a label on that.
Yeah. And what it does is it empowers that person to describe and to define what that feeling is, because it's their feeling. And we can't read other people's brains and minds. We so want to, but we can't.
Yeah.
Awesome thing about kids is when you use that, they will tell you yes or no like that. Adults, not so great, because we're not very aware of our feelings. Our kids are very aware of how they're feeling.
Yeah.
So kids will be great. You'll be like, it sounds like you're feeling frustrated. Yeah, I'm feeling frustrated. Like, okay, great. That was awesome. Or no, I'm feeling sad about this. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So then what you do, or another phrase is, I wonder if. That's my absolute favorite one, is I wonder if you're feeling frustrated. I wonder if the dishes have been bugging you for a while. I wonder if you need something in the dishwasher that's now not clean because I didn't wash it. Something like that, just to get them to kind of be like, yes, that's how I'm feeling. But what that all is that is validating their feeling, their experience. And it gives them like, hey, I see you. Like, you understand me. They like completely calm down. It's great. Or the other one is, I wonder if sounds like, and where is that other one? I wonder if it sounds like, oh, I'm curious if, another way of phrasing it. So choose one of the three. It sounds like, I wonder if, I'm curious if. So I'm
Okay.
curious if you're feeling da 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 da, or I'm curious if this has been bugging you for a while, or something like that. But really just curious if you're feeling really bummed or ticked off right now.
Okay.
Whatever that is. What happens, what you then want to get is you want to get that person to say yes or no, or they'll just be like, yeah. Like typically that's the kind of response that happens with people. But what you're doing is you're telling them, I see you, I'm validating you. So that's the first step. Step number one is to validate their feeling. Then the second one is to assure them that you're there with them in that feeling. Because when we have difficult feelings, the fear comes up of, I can't handle this. The other people in my life can't handle this. Yeah, I'm feeling this, but what the heck am I supposed to do about it? Like that
Yeah.
panic that's in.
Yeah.
So we just need to assure that person that we're there with them in that. So it's, hey, like, yeah, I'm feeling this. Okay. Hey, honey, like with this going on, like, let's work together. Let's do this. Like, we're an
Yeah.
incredible team and we're going to work together with this right now.
Yeah.
And whatever is going on, this frustration, it doesn't overwhelm me. It doesn't freak me out. Like, I'm here with you.
Yeah.
Because what literally happens, and this happens also, people's shoulders drop and they go, okay, yeah. And then the emotional piece, they're not there that much anymore. And they're just like, okay, I can handle this. You're here to help me handle this too. Okay, let's handle this together. And then what you can do is you can offer someone two choices of what they can do with it, of like, okay, hey, do we want to like do dishes now, or do you want to go do something and I do the dishes, like something like that? Or can we set a time that I do these, because right now I do have these things to do, but can I set it, can we make a plan of when I'll do them?
Yeah.
um,
And
or
that's
like,
usually where we get to is, all right, I know you want the dishes done, but I couldn't get to them now. I will get to them tonight if that's okay with you.
yeah. And then communication, great. Your relationship, great. Your connection, great. You're not in conflict anymore. You're both in your executive, because when you guide someone in that process, they're now in their executive as well. And you're both there and you're able to have fun, enjoy yourself, accomplish the things that you have going on. And your relationship is stronger because of that.
Yeah. No, it definitely does. And there's like a noticeable energy difference when we're both operating in the same like frequency.
Yeah.
A lot of our discord is when one person is stressed and in that emotional state and one is in the logical. If we're both in the same energy level, usually it's going to turn out okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when there's a difference or a difference in level, that's usually we run into the issues.
Totally. Or let's say you're having some tenants and you're looking, or a potential tenant, and you're looking at a place and they're kind of just like uncertain of how do I do this. So you walk in and they're kind of like, I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on. Because how do you know someone's in their emotional state? Their emotion is dictating how they're thinking and how they're behaving.
Yeah.
So everything that they say, everything that they're doing, they're maybe like pacing around, or they're like, I don't know. Like just having a
Yeah.
tough time making a choice. Or they're just like, oh, but this, I don't know. Oh, what about this one? I don't know.
Yeah.
And so it's validate. So
Yeah.
like, so how could you validate someone in that sense based on like what I just said you?
So I think I understood you correctly, but the one thing that made me think of, I've had a client in the past, in even with any of my clients, you can kind of tell with how they're talking about their life, or if it's a investment property, the property itself, or like the concept around what they're trying to sell or buy.
Yeah.
And this one client in particular, right away, she just lives in the emotional state. Like hard for her to get up to that logical.
Yep.
And so my goal in this is to try and push her to think logical.
Yeah.
Because emotional, I'm pretty confident that if she lives her day to day and emotional, she's pretty comfortable there.
Mm-hmm.
But like this is going to be like a very uncomfortable process, especially if this is like your first or second time doing it.
Yeah.
So I know how you're going to react when something happens emotionally, or I have a pretty good idea ish how it's going to, but like when we go into like actual negotiations, a lot of a logical thinking and less emotional. So from the first conversation with her, it lasted like an hour, but it was she was trying to sell a rental property, and so many problems. The roof is failing, the steps in the back were broken. She's got a lot of cleanup to do on the inside. Her tenants on the first floor wouldn't let her in. Tenants on the second floor. It was a lot of confusion, and she's got a lot of resentment towards the property because she doesn't feel like she doesn't feel like it helps her at all. She's getting more negative energy from this than positive.
Yep.
And a lot of it spurs from the tenants. And she was almost talking like it was helpless. Like there was a helpless feeling. So I actually dove in with her with like, yeah, it's helpless. It's a complete loss. And she was like, what do you mean it's a complete loss? And I was like, you're right. It's a complete, like, we have no control over your tenants. Like, I think you should just stop paying your bills and just let it go into foreclosure and just get out. Just get out. And she's like, well, I can't just get out. And I was like, okay, well then what should we do? And she's like, well, what can we do? And I was like, well, do you think we can move forward? And she's like, I hope so. And I was like, me too. And like slowly, as soon as I came down to be like, she was down here like hopeless. She's in like 40s.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll go down to 40. And like, I went right with her. And she's like, okay, you're supposed to be the person like pushing me on this. And I was like, I can't push people. Like I can be there with you, but I can't sit behind and push everything through.
Yeah.
So like going down and be like, yeah, it's hopeless. Like my advice to you is just get out. You can't control your tenants. There's so much work that needs to be done. No one's going to come in and buy this place. She's like, no one. And she like was shocked. And then I knew like, okay, something changed. When she was in that stage and something like a light bulb went off, I was like, okay, she's now thinking about this. She's not feeling it anymore. She's thinking it.
Because you validated her. And I said, you said you dropped. And I would say you didn't drop. You stayed in that executive. So you stayed up in that 75 up level, but you recognized where she was and you responded very appropriately to her. So you said, okay, that's where she's at. I'm not going to be like, let's talk all this through. I'm not going to say, well, let's just leave. Like you can't do that because that invalidates her. That says you don't understand me. You don't see me. But when you go to that level, you validate that feeling she has. She goes, oh, this person sees me. This person understands me. Because the question of the emotional state is, am I loved and connected? Or in other words, do I feel supported? Do I feel understood? Do I feel like this person gets me? And if I need help, are they going to be there to help me?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, am I loved and connected to other people, which is, do I have that support, understanding, things like that? Or it's to myself. Can I handle this? She's in the no freaking way. Can I handle this on my own right now? I have the roof thing. I have these tenants. I have all these broken things. Like, how do I do this? Right. So in herself, she's like, can I handle this? No.
Yeah.
That's a big fat no. And if she's saying no to that, then she'll drop to her survival. And then all chaos happens there.
Yeah.
And having a landlord that's there, oh boy, that's why they're like, no way am I letting you in right now. You're in survival mode. I don't want to go in survival mode. You're just going to come with your chaos. No, thank you. I'm not letting you in right now.
Right.
Wise, actually, on their end, totally appropriate. But it's like, but if you can support her and help her see that, hey, I see you, let's answer. Maybe you can't answer that yes to you handling it on your own, but I want to help you answer yes so we can do this one together and that we can handle this together. The answer is yes. So we'll get her to that executive. And in that executive, that is where we can problem solve. And that's where we can actually like put steps in order and steps in place of like, okay, how do we make this property better to improve the rental experience, or how do we sell it? Like, but there are some big decisions that need to be happen like there. But if she's in her emotional state, she'll maybe agree to something, but then you'll get a call 2 hours later or a day later with like a complete, just blah, like emotional, everything.
Yeah. And that's usually what it is. The call is usually when she's feeling and she's in an emotional state and there's a stressor. Like something happened when she's already, and then she'll call me. And then it's like, okay, what's going on? And then trying to get her back up. So like her world isn't caving in.
And what I want people to know is that this process and this thing that I taught you, like you've said, with the practice, like with Colby, like it took him a while to get it and to understand and to just make sense of it. It does take a little bit of time at the beginning, but eventually, like once you become good at it, it literally can take you 3 minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes, a minute. People literally, oh, you're feeling really overwhelmed right now. Yeah, I'm feeling overwhelmed. Okay, well, hey, I'm here with you in this overwhelm does not mean you have to go into full conversation processing. Like you're not their counselor. You don't need to counsel. Like, no. And if they really need that, that's a good time for them to go get some help in that way. But it's like, yeah, hey, like I see you, I get this. Yep. And what do we want to do about it? And then put that on them or like, yep. Or like, they'd be like, well, I don't know. What's your professional experience? Oh, okay, there we go. Great. Let's do that. Like,
yeah.
Okay. Like that literally can take a minute, which is insane, but it can take a minute. You diffuse that whole situation, a whole hour of unproductivity because like you go in and she's just word vomiting everything. You're not going to get anything accomplished that you need to.
Yeah. And it's not always, I mean, emotion's not always the negative. And I only pulled out that story because it was the first thing that popped in. Yeah. But there's a lot of times that I have to pull from that person that's like overly executive. Here's my house. I did this. This is that. I put in, they'll know like down to the dollar. I put $2,314 in the deck. I'm like, okay, this person knows numbers of the houses. Like I'm going to get through the inspection and the appraisal easy with this person. Yep. What's going to be hard is when we get into negotiations, because that's when it always happens, no matter if you're an emotional person or a logical person. When you get put into stress, there's crossover. You're going to get into both. And I want to know how they're going to react before we get there so that I can be more prepared. And it really is like I prep myself. I don't know if they know I'm prepping myself, but I'm prepping myself because, okay, you know, your house is worth $200,000 or $200,000. How are you going to feel when the first offer comes in at 180? What is that? How are you going to feel about that? Mm-hmm. And then they have to sit back and like, okay, well, that's not a numbers question. That's like, how do I feel about that? Oh, I'd feel pissed. Okay, why would you feel pissed? Because I put in all this work and all that and all that. Okay, well, would you be pissed because they're going to say this, and this? Like, do you see their point in that? Mm-hmm. And I try to like, kind of, I don't know, prep them with that or put a little buffer in, because like that's a possibility. Because then I also say how
so wise, because what happens is that emotional state is, like you said, that stressor, that thing comes up and they go, I don't know what to do. I can't handle this. And if we don't feel like we can handle it, we drop to that survival. And then we're like, screw that. I can't do this. Overwhelm. All done. Like, no go. This is too much. I don't even want to sell my house. And they're like, they're done. And it's like, whoa. Like, but it's also like, that's where they were in their brain. And it's not to critique them or judge them. That's just where they were. And they didn't feel like they could handle that. But your job as the professional is to support them and to assure them that you're there in that process. So exactly like you're doing, you're outlining, okay, here are some possible things that can happen. I'm not saying they will happen. Mm-hmm. So assure them of that, because that anxiety will start to increase. But it's like, hey, I want you to feel prepared. I want you to feel equipped. I want you to feel supported in this process, to know that like, yeah, this sometimes happens. And like, what do we want to do if these situations happen? Let's process that ahead of time. So if it does, we're not in a full blow up scenario. But it's also so wise for you because you recognize that you need to stay in this executive part of your brain. Right. Mm-hmm. How I talk about it is I say, we need to guard this empowered self. We need to guard your ability to stay here. So having these plans, having these conversations, kind of walking through these examples helps you see, okay, are these people a really reactive person that, okay, I'm going to need to support them in a different way? Or also like, is this enough for them? And they're going to be fine just with this. But you need to know as well, like, there are things that I need to do to keep me in this state, because oh boy, they might be people that are going to pull at different strings of mine. And then I'm going to drop to my emotional or my survival. And oh boy, if the
Yeah.
professional is there, like, yikes, that's
Yeah.
really
And
tough.
it's all different strings throughout the day. Like I'll come from a really good meeting with the foreman to talking to a contractor who's delayed to talking to a shipment person that's on track to talking to an employee who missed something. Like all different strings are being pulled. And if I can't come back to center, like I don't know at the end of the day where I'm going to end up.
Oh yeah. And that's where it's so fun when I work with people, as I say, literally, and I would encourage you, assess your energy level throughout the day. Maybe today, just kind of see where it's at and just see, does it dip? Does it increase? Does it not? Because you'll start to see, oh, I probably came in contact with someone that energy level was low and they took a little bit more from me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's see, is there something you can do to boost it? Like you said, the affirmations of yourself, there's something like that that you can do to help with that. Okay, you're boosting it up. Then you come in contact with someone, oh, that was a really great experience with this person I had to interact with. It then increased more. Okay, then you had a tougher one. Oh, it dropped. Okay, then you can assess that. But you don't even have to so much, but sometimes it's just recognizing, okay, that person was in this part of their brain. That's why they're taking more from me.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, your energy will go down at times during the day, but what can you do to boost it back up? And also, are there things like, oh, wow, I really need to come up with like FAQs for certain things, or I need to come up with case scenarios. And maybe instead of explaining them, like write them out on a piece of paper or have a document and you literally send that to people so they can look at it whenever they need to and revisit it again when time comes up. That just saves your butt, that saves your time, and that keeps you in this executive part of your brain.
Yeah. It's hard to stay there. It is, I admit.
It is, but it's doable. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but it is because things come up and you're like, I don't have control of other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we
And you
so
never
want,
do.
we don't, but we can control what we do and how we respond and how we behave in situations.
Yep. And that's what it's about.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a wild world and it's only going to get more and more refined, I guess. Is that what you're seeing?
I'm seeing there's a lot of stress right now going on.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of craziness and people just don't know what to do. And we're feeling really overwhelmed because we don't feel like we have the tools for the awareness. And so that's where I thank you for letting me come on and share this experience and this knowledge with people, because I think knowledge is power and it's just helpful to know kind of how this stuff works.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we always appreciate you on. I'm sure we'll have you on again. But I know it's only 45. I've got 2 dogs that are eating stuff over here, so I'm gonna go take care of that.
Cool.
But we will definitely get you back on. We'll talk again.
Well, and let me know. I'm totally open if you're like, okay, we're having this bigger challenge in your company or just these certain situations come up. And you're like, I just need to process through how to make these things happen. Or if I come on and like do a workshop with you guys, or even like a workshop series of teaching your team how this works, I would beyond love to do something like that.
That would be awesome. I think
Because
it's
just how
so
you
fun.
broke down these examples, it's like, yeah, like I see that you have so much knowledge and ability to do that. But I think sometimes it's hard for other people to know, how do I do this?
Yeah.
How do I do this? And I'm getting really overwhelmed. And like, how do I handle this?
Yeah, I'd like that. That'd be cool. Let's set that up.
Cool. So yeah, let me know, reach out if you want to do it and stuff. I would ask that it would be a paid thing just because it
Yeah,
takes a lot of my knowledge with that piece,
absolutely.
but I'd be totally
Absolutely.
down with that.
That'd be cool. Thank you.
Oh, sounds great. Well,
Awesome. Well, have a good weekend.
perfect. And
Thank
enjoy
you.
Qdoba today.
Will do. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.